Well, cookies, and not the ones you eat, the ones that you're asked to accept or not when you jump onto a website. They're built to track, personalize, and save information about your web session. Should you click yes? And how about your passwords? How often do you change them? And is your phone really listening to you?
There are so many questions when it comes to data privacy, especially now in 2022. Today is Data Privacy Day, an initiative that aims to empower people to reflect on who is collecting their data, why, and what exactly it might be used for. So we want to help give you some information so that you can take action. Here to help us is Tony Anscombe, Chief Cybersecurity Expert with IT security company ESET. Thanks for joining us tonight. First of all, the big question, I think, is what's your data in general being used for?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, it's used for many, many different things. And I think actually, if you and I could sit in a meeting room of a company who's collected data and a lot of it, we'd probably be scared of how much they could do with it and how much of it there is. But it really depends on who's collected it and why they've collected it. But if we think about the amount of data we give up and a lot of the time in agreement and freely, then it can be used for a lot of things. Marketing, it can be used to target us for news, ads, etc.
And Tony, so the question of cookies, you cannot really visit a website without it asking you to accept all cookies or select a few cookies, and doing so could alter your user experience. So what is it that cookies are exactly collecting about you? How is that data being used? And I mean, how much choice do you really have?
Well, there are several different types of cookies, and a lot of cookies are usage cookies. So, for example, if I come and visit a newspaper website and it wants to know which language that I prefer the site in, it might ask to store a cookie on my machine. So next time I come back to the same website, it defaults to the right language. It already knows some things about the experience that I'd like to have on that website. Now, that's a usage type of cookie, which is, to me, very acceptable. However, we then step into some cookies collect other things. So, for example, if I engage with an advert or I see an advert, then tracking cookies can save that information that I've seen an ad or engaged with an ad, or I've been looking at a certain website, and then another website might pick up the same tracking cookie later on and start displaying the same ads or similar ads for similar things. So i.e. they're looking at my browsing history. Then I think it steps into our personal privacy, and you should make a conscious decision on whether to accept tracking cookies.
Tony, exactly what does a data breach mean? Because this is a term we hear all the time, especially these days.
Well, data breach means that the data is left the organization. It's no longer only on the servers of the company who you gave it to with permission. It means a cyber criminal somewhere, a hacker, has unfortunately gained access to it, and the data is probably for sale or has been published out on the dark web somewhere.
So, Tony, two questions for you about particularly, usage on the phone. This happened to me recently. I got an alert through my, settings on the phone saying some of your stored passwords have been part of a data breach. What's happening there? I mean, is it that hackers are targeting a company or a website in which I have my password saved?
So what it means is hackers have gained access to your personal information through a data breach. And there's been lots and lots of data breaches. I mean, we read about these in the media every day. And it means your identity, so your email address and your password combination, have been seen in a data breach. And the systems, for example, Google in Chrome will actually alert you if you're using their password system. It will actually alert you in turn and say, hey, that password you're using on that website, we also know that's available on the dark web. And it means that a hacker could actually try and access your other accounts using the same login information that was part of a different breach. Which is why you need to have unique passwords on every website that you go to.
I was just about to say that, and that's why that's so important. My second phone question is, I think a lot of people question it as if our phones are listening to us or watching us too closely when it comes to social media. I mean, if I'm on Google looking for bed linens, suddenly when I'm on Instagram, I'm seeing all these bed linen ads. How does that connect?
Well, if you go to a website and it's got, for example, the Facebook or the Instagram logo on the bottom, and you haven't logged out of Facebook or Instagram, then they're likely to know that you've been to that website. So therefore, they know that you've been on a page looking at bed linens, for example, so they can make those advertisings to you. What you need to do is log out of those services, and then it ceases to track you.
Okay.
Cybersecurity expert Tony Anscombe. Tony, we really appreciate your time tonight.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks, Tony.